Malaysia's Prime Minister is reaching out to former heavyweight government officials around ASEAN to become advisors. Anwar Ibrahim preparing to take the chair of the regional bloc next year. Among the names, ex-Thai Premier Thaksin Shinawatra. Mr. Anwar made that announcement on the sidelines of a bilateral meeting with the daughter of Mr. Thaksin, as current Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra in Putrajaya. CNA's Afifah Ariffin with this report.
As Malaysia prepares to assume the ASEAN chairmanship for 2025, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has proposed the formation of an informal advisory group to assist the ASEAN chairman. This group would consist of former ASEAN leaders, including former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. Mr. Anwar made this announcement after a meeting with Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra, who is in Malaysia for a two-day visit. The Prime Ministers held a bilateral meeting and co-chaired the 7th Malaysia-Thailand annual consultation, where they discussed potential areas for further collaboration and exchanged views on regional and international issues of mutual interest.
Now, the 7th annual consultation is timely, of course, taking stock of the excellent bilateral relations, following through our excellent relation with former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who I have agreed to appoint as my personal advisor, as Chairman of ASEAN, with a team of members from ASEAN countries, an informal setup. And thank you for agreeing to this, because we need the benefit of experience of such statesmen.
Mr. Anwar also highlighted the common position of both countries on the South China Sea, stressing respect for UNCLOS while maintaining strong relations with all nations. On Myanmar, he said both countries are committed to fully implementing the 5-point consensus and are engaging in informal talks at various levels to ensure Myanmar's participation and reintegration into ASEAN. Malaysia and Thailand also share a unified stance on the ascension of Timor-Leste as a full member of ASEAN. Additionally, Malaysia and Thailand reviewed their bilateral relationship and signed 2 agreements, one on cooperation in the fields of culture, arts and heritage, and another on the development of the rubber industry and economic cooperation.
The main purpose of my visit is to reaffirm the importance of Thai-Malaysian friendship and cooperation among a wide range of issues aimed at expanding and deepening our collaborations discussed a moment ago at the 7th annual consultation. I committed to maintain the dynamics of our relationship and our efforts towards common peace and prosperity.
Thailand remains a key trading partner for Malaysia, ranking as its 6th largest globally and 2nd largest within ASEAN in 2023, with bilateral trade valued at $24.83 billion. Afifah Ariffin, CNA, Kuala Lumpur.
As we heard there from Afifah, lots of vested interest from both Thailand and Malaysia in improving their cooperation, but also as we look at the larger region, Myanmar, a key issue that Anwar Ibrahim will have to tackle as chair of ASEAN. Let's get more out on these developments from our Thailand correspondent Saksith Saiyasombut, reporting live from Bangkok, and our ASEAN correspondent Leong in Johor Bahru. Let's start with you first, Saksith. We heard that Mr. Anwar saying the need to benefit from the experience of experienced statesmen such as former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. What's in it for Mr. Thaksin accepting this being tapped on as an advisor to ASEAN?
Now, before we answer this question, we have to talk a little bit about what has happened on this day after the announcement. It almost flew under the radar here in Thailand because it was delivered in such an offhand manner by Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. So it hasn't raised that many eyebrows. But then, of course, over the course of the days, as the headlines trickled in here in Bangkok as well, there were, of course, more questions being asked about Thaksin's involvement as an advisor to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim until it was confirmed by his daughter, the current Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra, upon her arrival back from Putrajaya here in Thailand. So let's listen in what she had to say about this.
ค่ะเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยการที่ท่านทักษิณ
ไปเป็นที่ปรึกษาเนี่ยก็คงจะได้รายละเอียดเยอะขึ้นแน่นอนนะคะแล้วก็ได้นำความรู้ความสามารถของทั้งสองฝ่ายแล้วจริงๆมีมีที่ปรึกษาของประเทศอื่นๆก็อีก 2-3 ประเทศก็ช่วยกันเพราะว่าจริงก็อยากได้แง่มุมของหลายประเทศร่วมกันมันก็เหมือนเป็นในกลุ่มอาเซียนแล้วเขามีที่ปรึกษาของกลุ่มอาเซียนอีกเนี่ยคิดว่าซัพพอร์ตกันได้เยอะค่ะ
Now, about the why, there are definitely many different points here. First of all, Thaksin and Mr. Anwar, they know each other for quite a long time, all the way back when Mr. Thaksin himself was a prime minister almost a quarter of a century ago in the early 2000s. But coming back to the present, there are more pressing issues where Mr. Anwar Ibrahim could be tapping Mr. Thaksin for his expertise, and there are two areas from that. A is BRICS, the group of countries, including China, Russia, Brazil, India, and South Africa. Both countries want to get in. Both countries have signed up to become a member state of that. And Thaksin himself has been pretty vocal about Thailand becoming a member of BRICS in order to be a central role linking between the West and the so-called global South. But then more pressing issues close to home for Thailand, and that is Myanmar. Of course, there are informal talks going to take place here, and Thaksin has been reportedly involved in there. So this is where Mr. Anwar wants to tap into the expertise as well.
Well, thanks for that, Saksith. Bring to Waikit now in Johor Bahru. Saksith talking about those talks. In fact, 2 regional meetings on Myanmar due hosted by Thailand this week, with Myanmar possibly being involved in at least one of them.
Right, but before I begin, I just want to pick up on what Saksith said earlier. Now, he said that there was confirmation by Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra about Mr. Thaksin Shinawatra's involvement as part of Mr. Anwar Ibrahim's ASEAN group of advisors. But I've also been speaking to some of my sources who raised more names. One of them is former Singapore Foreign Minister George Yeo. The other is Indonesia former Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi. Now, we shared this intel with some of our colleagues. In fact, Melissa Goh earlier on had sent me a recording of her and Prime Minister Anwar talking. She had specifically asked Mr. Anwar, who are the other names? She specifically asked, is George Yeo involved? Is Retno Marsudi involved? Mr. Anwar sidestepped those questions. But having spoken to a range of my contacts, one of them said that Mr. George Yeo is aware of the arrangement and that Mr. George Yeo is willing to help Mr. Anwar. As for Ms. Retno Marsudi, I've only been able to get confirmation that she has been consulted by Malaysia. We don't know whether or not she has yet said yes or not. But Mr. Anwar said it has to, he will make more details known. But if these were confirmed, he will have with him a group of veterans. These are former heavyweight political officials. Mr. George Yeo may have retired from politics, but he still once in a while talks about geopolitics. He gives seminars, he gives talks, he talks about superpower rivalry, he talks about South China Sea. Ms. Retno Marsudi is right now the UN envoy on water. So in terms of topics like water resources as well as sustainability, she will be able to add value to Mr. Anwar. Very quickly, back to your question, Wei Su, the talks on December 19 involving Myanmar is likely to be more successful than the December 20th talks involving ASEAN foreign ministers, mainly because of the context of the talks. Myanmar is sending likely its foreign minister to speak to all other foreign ministers of the 5 countries that Myanmar shares borders with.
Waikit, possibly, and this is just a hypothetical, the Myanmar military government might be more prepared to engage with any talks that ASEAN might propose, informal or otherwise, given the pressure it's feeling in terms certainly of a Western part, ethnic armed groups taking control of certain parts of their border.
Yeah, most certainly. Myanmar is prepared to engage with ASEAN as a bloc. It has been very keen to want to, re-engage formal ties with ASEAN as a bloc as well as with other ASEAN member states, but not all have been willing to speak with the Myanmar military. We know for a fact that the Mekong countries are more friendly to the Myanmar military. We know that the foreign ministries as well as we know that the 5 countries that share borders with Myanmar are a lot more friendly than ASEAN as a whole. That said, there are quite a few issues that I foresee may come up. Now, I've been told by sources that some ASEAN member states are unhappy that the December 19 talks feature Myanmar first before the ASEAN foreign ministers speak about Myanmar. I've also been told that current chair Laos may not be ready to issue any statement with regard to the outcome of the meeting. So we are expecting certain ASEAN member states to come out of the meeting and then issue statements of their own.
Oh, thanks, Waikit. Back to you, Saksith. Those talks between that bilateral meeting between Thai Prime Minister and Malaysia's Prime Minister in Putrajaya, reports suggest Mr. Anwar made mention of ongoing strife in the Deep South. I think March of this year we had coordinated bombings in the southern provinces. But Ms. Paetongtarn Shinawatra did not respond or comment on insurgency there. Where are we in terms of unrest in the Deep South?
Now, if we are looking at the joint statement by both leaders, they have been talking about the insurgency conflict in the Deep South of Thailand, and a conflict that has cost thousands of people's lives and that has been ongoing for over 2 decades now. And they have been, in the readout that we have received, they have been talking about positive progress in the peace talks. But the problem is that those peace talks, the last status is all the way back in February. And ever since then, there has been no progress whatsoever, even though those talks have been very hopeful, talking about maybe a legal framework of a possible peace plan, but nothing has happened ever since then. And especially since we had a change of government here in Thailand, there's no Thai representatives, and the Thai side has been pretty quiet about who they're going to appoint next on that in that place instead. Now, as you have just mentioned, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has raised that up. Prime Minister Paetongtarn has not raised that up, but that is also has raised some of concern by separatist groups, including the Barisan Revolusi Nasional, who has come out with a statement prior to this meeting telling people to get this going. But this is also, when we're talking about one border issue with Myanmar, another border issue now with Thailand and Malaysia, this is also where, for example, ex-Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra could come in and also lend his expertise to Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who's taking over as the chair of ASEAN next year.
Oh, thanks. CNA's Saksith, Saiyasombut and Leong weaving together all those strands as Thai Prime Minister meets Malaysia's Prime Minister and also looks larger to what's happening in this region of ASEAN.